2023, a year for animation that has come and gone, but we're now in 2024. A year where a lot of anticipated animated movies are coming out this year. And to sum it all up, we have 12 animated movies that we know of, at least. We may have a studio just magically drop a movie out of nowhere. But this year is pretty stacked for animation, and today I wanted to decide to rank all these movies and my level of anticipation for these movies and what I'm most hyped for. Again, these are all my opinions, and I'm really interested to see what you guys gotta say for what your anticipated movie might be. So, without further ado, let's get into it. And make sure to subscribe. 2024 is gonna be a big year for the channel, so let's get into it. Coming in at number 12 and at the bottom of my list is Mufasa the Lion King. Now, once I heard this movie was being made, I just had a large sigh. This is a movie that could be just animated, honestly. I really am tired of these live-action remakes of Disney. It really needs to stop. And on top of this is obviously another live-action Lion King movie, and everyone knows how that movie turned out, with zero emotion at all. It was almost like it really was just a carbon copy of the original, but took all the soul out of the original movie. And with this, it was, I guess, a sequel, because, once again, this is the highest grossing animated movie of all time, the original Lion King that came out in 2019, so it was inevitable that we were going to get some sort of sequel, but it's not a sequel, it's a prequel. And at least it's something new, where we see the story of how Mufasa came to be, and we see a younger Scar, we see a younger Mufasa. And this movie also takes place in the present, basically Simba telling his daughters of, the story of Mufasa. So it's basically a time skip that goes back and forth. Honestly, I don't know what much to expect from this. It's whatever. Honestly, if it looks anything like the original Lion King from 2019, it's gonna be the same for me. It's gonna be lifeless, I won't be really able to take much of it seriously, and it's just whatever. Plus, this comes out on December 20th, and I don't think a lot of people are gonna be seeing this movie. I think a lot of people are gonna be seeing, another movie that comes out on that same day. We'll get to that later. Next up on the list is a animated movie that is supposed to release on Netflix. It's kind of weird, this movie's kind of been all over the place. But Saving Bikini Bottom, a Sandy Cheeks movie. Now this is another SpongeBob movie. The last SpongeBob movie we got was not really that great. And I've had a perspective on SpongeBob recently that it's gotten pretty much way worse than I thought it was going to be. And it's kind of spitting on Steven Hillenburg's legacy on this just amazing show, and all these crappy spin-offs, and everything about this is just not turning out that great, and it was only inevitable for them to make a spin-off movie about Sandy Cheeks. And honestly, I'm not really that hyped for this movie. It's just another SpongeBob movie, and it kind of goes back to what the second SpongeBob movie did with the blend of 2D animation and also 3D animation. They're going back on the surface world again, this time going to Texas to find Sandy's family. Honestly, I just have the perspective that SpongeBob is just what it is right now. It's not really in a great state. It's really the thing that's life support for Nickelodeon right now, and it's honestly whatever on what this movie is. It's releasing on Netflix because I think they're kind of scared to put this in theaters. Hopefully the 2D animated sequences look as good as the ones from Sponge Out of Water. That animation looked great. At least in the water, at least. But this movie is whatever. Whatever happens with this movie, I'll still review it, but you're not going to see me super hyped for this movie. It's honestly whatever. Next up on the list is the Peanuts movie 2. Now, this is a movie that we didn't think would happen. After Blue Sky kinda just disbanded as a company, we kinda thought everything that they had held either just went to Disney, or just everything else just fell apart. But out of nowhere, Apple TV drops that we're getting a Peanuts movie too. Will it have the same animation as the original movie? I mean, the promotional art seems to suggest that, but maybe not. We don't know if we're really getting like it's not going to be 100% like the original film. Actually, maybe it'll look even better. We honestly don't know. And there's a lot to go off of just from Peanuts. Apple owns the rights to Charlie Brown and the Gang right now. They have a show on Apple TV, and I've heard it's pretty good. I haven't watched it because I don't own Apple TV. But from what I've heard, that Apple is treating Charlie Brown with respect. And with this movie, there's so many places you can go because it's Charlie Brown. There's so many things that you could go with the franchise, and it's just a perfect idea. It can be a simple movie, it can be fun, and from the looks of things, from them going to the big city, there's a lot of things you can do with that. That just opens a whole can of worms that you can do whatever you want with. We don't have an exact release date, but you know once it comes out, I'm gonna be there immediately. Next up on the list is Transformers 1. Now this is a movie I've been interested since I first heard about it. Now Transformers just has been these past few years. The movies haven't been bad, like Bumblebee was good. The recent movie, Transformers The Rise of Beasts, was also good, but they've just been It doesn't seem like they're really going anywhere. Regarding just new, it's mostly stuff we've already seen before, but this is an animated Transformers movie. Now this one, the whole thing that's been holding Transformers back is that we always go to the real world. We really haven't had a Transformers movie that has taken place on Cybertron, and that would just be really cool to see, and we're finally getting that in an animated movie. And on top of that, this cast is interesting. First, Chris Hemsworth is Optimus Prime. That's a sentence I never thought I'd ever say. Now, obviously the original actor of Optimus Prime can never be replaced. He is the perfect role for Optimus Prime. But I'm kind of interested to see the take that Chris Hemsworth has with this. But also at the same time, Brian Tyree Henry is Megatron. That I also need to see. Just the whole cast is just really interesting, and I really am really excited to see how this turns out, because an animated Transformers movie could really go hard. And it comes out also in September, so you also know, day one, I am there to see that movie. I've never thought I'd be hyped for a Transformers movie, but here we are. Next up on the list is DreamWorks' Orion and the Dark, another movie that is also based off of a book being adapted into an animated feature-length film. But the sad part about this is that this movie is going on Netflix and not in theaters. I honestly can't tell if it's that DreamWorks just isn't having faith in certain movies, or just DreamWorks and Netflix. Yes, DreamWorks and Netflix has a deal to put movies or TV shows over there, but this also feels like a movie that should be in theaters. I haven't read any of the books from this series. I don't know if it's a single book or a series, but I haven't really heard much from this. But after watching the trailer, it seems pretty fun. I mean, the characters their designs are pretty interesting. But from looking at what the book looks like, okay, now it makes sense. But the plot seems fun. I mean, just Dark itself being a character is an interesting concept, and it's a kid being afraid of the dark and him just going on this adventure, seeing all these. It's an interesting world that I kind of would want to see, but at the same time, why are we getting this on Netflix? It seems like a film that would be in theaters, but it's not. I guess they just have a deal. But Orion in the Dark, I am pretty excited for. It's a DreamWorks movie that I see a lot of people actually actively talking about and excited for, and it doesn't take too long to come out. It comes out February 2nd, so At least I won't have to run out to a theater, but you know I'll be there day one to watch that movie. Moving on. Next up on the list is Despicable Me 4. Now this movie, we all heard all the way back once Minions The Rise of Gru was a smash hit, that we would be getting a sequel finally to Despicable Me 3, which I don't even want to look up how many years ago that movie came out, because then I'm going to realize how fast time is going by. But Despicable Me 4, after the recent Illumination movies slightly having better writing and better stories, I'm kinda hoping that Despicable Me 4 kind of follows that same suit. I know Illumination has been milking their cash cow for like the past 10 years, but hopefully this movie has good writing and actually a decent story to actually have a fourth movie. And you know what? Maybe this movie could be good. I haven't disliked any Illumination movies that have come out since 2021. It's been on a good track lately, so hopefully Despicable Me continues that trend with their fourth movie, and we could actually see Gru finally once again, and all the memes will come circling back and we'll see them all again. But I'm kind of anticipating this movie hopefully to be good, but moving on. Next up on the list is Coyote vs. Acne. Now, when I first heard about this movie, I was actually pretty excited for this. We finally have another Looney Tunes movie, and now, look, this is a hot take, but I really liked Space Jam 2. It wasn't the greatest movie of all time, but it was pretty good in my opinion. It wasn't, terrible, the terrible reviews were ripping this movie apart. But I personally liked it. It was a fun movie. I had a fun time. And I just want more Looney Tunes movies, because they just never get old. And we finally have, 2 coming this year, actually. But Coyote vs. Acme was almost a tax write-off. And the internet was furious. And after, after it just trending on Twitter for, almost a week, Warner Brothers finally didn't use it as a tax write-off and was selling it to other streaming services for wherever it's gonna get picked up. We don't know exactly where it's being picked up at, but it's a movie that's finally coming out in 2024. It's basically Coyote solving a court case against Acme because all their inventions have been effective against trying to catch Roadrunner. So this should be a fun movie, and basically going off of the first photo, it's 2D animated Coyote and not 3D like it used to be in Space Jam 2. I didn't mind that, but it's also cool to finally see them, 2D animated. So I'm really excited to see how this movie turns out. I'm just happy this movie wasn't terminated, because this was a full film done. So Warner Brothers has just been really kicking it and really just disrespecting a lot of these movies. But moving on. Next up on the list is The Day the Earth Blew Up, a Looney Tunes movie. Now, when I first heard about this, I was really excited for this. Let me just say it for the people in the back of the room that may not hear this. This is a fully 2D animated Looney Tunes movie that is releasing in theaters. This I never thought I was gonna happen, at all. First of all these animation studios have been so scared to put out a 2D animated movie in theaters because of just, people don't want to go see 2D animated movies anymore. And that is a lie. 2D animation has been clamored for to come back in theaters for the longest time now. We've really only gotten it in movies that are from TV shows that go back to the big screen. Basically Teen Titans Go, SpongeBob, the Bob's Burgers movie, which didn't really do that great. We don't talk about it, but it was a decent movie. But 2D animation on the big screen has just been disregarded by all these animation studios, and I never thought that Warner Brothers would be the one to have the balls to finally do it. And we finally have a Looney Tunes movie that's coming to theaters that's fully 2D animated. It's a movie also that stars Daffy Duck and Porky Pig. It's an interesting concept. It's basically also the day the Earth blew up by these aliens, and it's up to Porky Pig and Daffy Duck to solve this problem and save the Earth. And this is a really interesting movie. I really hope this movie does well. Please, everyone go see this movie. This is 2D animation on the big screen in such a long time. We really only get 2D animation on the big screen from anime movies and just movies from Japan. Japan is still very big in 2D animation, and I would really want to see it come back in 2D animation in theaters, and this is possibly that entryway, because I never thought Warner Brothers would have the balls to do this. So this I am really excited to see on how it turns out. Next up on the list is Garfield. Now this movie, ever since we heard that the movie was being made, everyone was hyped for it. Everyone, oh my god, we're getting a Garfield movie. Then Chris Pratt. Then after that, everyone was like, it's Hollywood being Hollywood again, just throwing people at a character that wouldn't really fit them. And after the trailer coming out, first the animation looks really, really good, and that I am excited for. Just the animation itself, it looks amazing. And Chris Pratt as Garfield, it's just him being him, but just him sounding tired. Like, obviously, Frank Welker as the original Garfield can also never be replaced, but with this, it's slightly more tolerable. Like, I can hold it, because there are some scenes that work, some scenes that just, it's him being him. And we'll just have to see how it plays out in the actual movie. Maybe people will get used to it, maybe people won't. But personally, it's just iffy for me. It's okay. I didn't also expect for Garfield's father to be in this movie, and also for him to be voiced by Samuel L. Jackson. That is also pretty funny. Chris Pratt in a Samuel L. Jackson movie, it sounds like a fun movie, and it's also a heist movie. A lot of people don't know that, but it is a heist movie, so I'm kind of interested to see what the heist is for, and, you know, how a Garfield heist movie would actually turn out. So, that I'm excited for. It comes out in May 24th, I'm pretty sure, so I am really excited for that movie. Next up on the list is Pixar's Inside Out 2. Now, this has been a really, really anticipated Pixar sequel, because Inside Out was really good. It was a really fun and interesting concept of just all the emotions being a little team up inside your head. And it to evolve into a puberty story, that's actually really, really cool, because there's a lot of really cool things you could do with that, and it just sounds like a perfect sequel to go off of the first movie. And with the new emotions being anxiety and a bunch of other emotions that we have yet to see yet, it's gonna be a really fun movie and pretty interesting to see how Riley goes through middle school. I think she's 13, yeah. And how she goes through all of this, and how basically it's about, I think, almost 10 emotions now, all correlate in this whole movie. It's a really fun movie that I'm really excited for, and I think Pixar, after Elemental, which was really good, is starting to pick itself back up again, and I just can't wait to go see this movie. Also, just day one, I am there. Next up on the list is Sonic the Hedgehog 3. Now you could say, oh, this is not an animated movie, it's just animated movies in a live-action form. Now, yes and no. This is a movie I could consider kind of live-action and also some segments a little animated, kind of. But this movie, I've been hyped for ever since I saw that post-credit scene for Sonic the Hedgehog 2. Shadow the Hedgehog is such a universally loved character, and it could be really, really cool to see where they go with Shadow the Hedgehog in this series. First, Shadow has a pretty dark story, and two, he's not typically a character like Knuckles that would be all goody-goody with Sonic after they figure out their differences. We still don't know who's voicing Shadow just yet, but this is a movie that can go in every direction. This could be taken from Sonic Adventure 2. This is a movie that there are so many plots they could do, because the Sonic movie franchise obviously isn't are directly taken from the Sonic canon. It's its own thing, but there are so many things they could do with this movie. They can introduce Metal Sonic, they can introduce Amy, they can introduce literally whoever they want, and Rouge may be one of those characters, and we'll just see how the internet reacts to that. But at the same time, I'm really excited for this movie to come out. I just wish it didn't come out in December. I wish it came out like earlier in the year. It comes out on the same day as Mufasa the Lion King. No one's going to go see Mufasa the Lion King. There might be that one person that goes see it, maybe another family in the back, but everyone's going to go see Sonic the Hedgehog 3. It's just a movie that I think is going to do really well, and I'm just really excited for this movie. Finally, at number 1 on this list is Kung Fu Panda 4. A lot of you guys probably saw this coming, but Kung Fu Panda 4 has been a really anticipated sequel for a lot of people, and yes, you could say a 4th movie isn't really necessary, but I say for this plot, I say, yeah, a 4th movie was probably needed for Kung Fu Panda. And this plot in particular has everybody hyped, seeing Tai Lung, Shen, and Kai return, and a lot of other villains apparently from the director when he said that, which is just raising the bar for this movie super high. And I think Kung Fu Panda 4 might be the most anticipated animated movie for a lot of people. And regarding just the Chameleon as a villain, she just looks badass. I can't wait to see how she is in this movie. Yes, a lot of people may say Zen is gonna be an annoying character. I don't think so. I think she'll be fine, and the animation just looks great. Yes, it's not like Puss in Boots like everyone was saying they hoped it'd be, but the animation still looks great. I cannot wait for the fight scenes in the movie, because Kung Fu Panda never misses with their fight scenes. Even if it's the Netflix shows, they do not miss. And I think this is going to evolve into something new for the franchise, and Kung Fu Panda is already it's one of the big 3 for DreamWorks, so they can't miss with this movie. Obviously, having the same director, same writers, and I'm just really excited to see where this movie goes and how it evolves into this franchise. So that I am number 1, day 1 there. Maybe even that Thursday I'll be there. I cannot wait for this movie. And here's some quick thoughts on some movies that we practically know nothing about. This is pretty quick. First, we got the Casa Grandes movie that is supposed to be releasing sometime this year on Netflix. Me and the Loud House's relationship has had, the first few seasons were really good. I kind of dropped off after, season 4, season 5. I came back to see the movie. It was mid. And then we have this movie. We really don't know how it's going to turn out, so I'll watch it, but we'll see how it turns out. Next, we got The Wild Robot, which we don't have anything else but this image, but the people behind it are really knowing what they're doing. So this movie could end up being really good. It comes out in September. And the movie Fixed. This is a movie that is fully 2D animated. 2D animation's on a roll this year. And it's about a dog that's getting clipped and how he spends his last night with his friends. This is not a kids movie, and I know for a fact kids are still gonna see this movie anyway, with unsuspecting parents. But yeah, that's a wrap for this week, and that's a wrap just for all the 2024 animated movies. There's probably gonna be more that pop out of nowhere, because that's how some animation studios go, but I think this is a pretty good lineup. There's a lot of good movies coming out. Some okay, some alright. But I'd say this is pretty good, and obviously my opinions may be different from yours, but this is my list. I'm curious to hear what yours are and what your most anticipated animated movie is. And thank you guys so much for just an amazing 2023, so let's just get 2024 started off right. If you haven't noticed, I have updated sprites now, but thank you guys so much for watching, and I will catch y'all in the next video. Peace out.